Hello, and welcome along to episode 98, ever closer to the 100, of the SheGulls podcast, powered by Albion Obsessed, the one and only podcast dedicated to Brighton and Hove Albion women's football team. I'm your host, Duncan. I'm joined today by fellow Albion fans, Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Duncan.
By Claire. Hello, Claire.
Hello, Duncan.
And by Abby. Hello, Abby.
Hello, Duncan.
Hello. Abby's back from her holiday. Did you enjoy being we had a sort of an avatar of you. I don't know if you saw it.
I did see.
So
yes, I have listened diligently to your sub 2 hour podcast, Duncan.
I know. I didn't even mention the fact that you weren't here, or very subtly mentioned. But yes, it was nice to see your face, even though it wasn't moving. I think that's a compliment, but we'll find out later anyway. Yes, so as promised, as discussed last week, this is our FA Cup special. If there's any little tidbits of news that we can think of later on, we may do that at the very, very end. But our main concentration is obviously on this Sunday's FA Cup. Very, very exciting. Lots of bits and pieces going on, which we can talk about later. I've been to the training ground, the Lancing training ground, to chat to some players, and you may well hear from them throughout the episode, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. I'll cue them in anyway, because for those audio listeners, you won't be able to see as immediately who it is, but you'll probably get it from the accents.
Do they have their own jingle?
They do not have their own jingle. However, CANKITY CANK has been revamped.
CANKITY CANK.
So I would suggest that people do check out the video of this episode for the CANKITY CANK jingle. I mean, obviously, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I worked long and hard for about 20 minutes at this. So, and it's very hot. I'm just going to say off the bat, it's very hot. So 20 minutes in a very hot climate is probably hot. About 3 hours in any normal temperature. So, yeah. The FA Cup final. I'm actually going to start with something really, really early, which is not even the FA Cup final, but just the build up to the FA Cup final. So I wanted to come to each of you and find out sort of how excited you're getting, when you think that will kick in. Are you doing any preparations? And we were just talking offline about merchandise and stuff like that, putting in orders and things like that. So I'll start with Abby as she's being welcomed back. Yes. Abby, how is it going? How is the build-up? What's the story?
I think I've been trying to put off getting excited about it, but now I am. Now I'm here. Now I'm talking to you. Now I am excited. I just can't wait. And I can't believe we've got a whole week to go. And it's my birthday this week, and I'm not even bothered. I just want to get to Wembley.
It's a good birthday present, wouldn't it? It would be a very good birthday present if it all comes to plan. Yes, and also a good excuse to be able to get yourself some merchandise, as we were discussing before.
My
a nod and a wink to her. So there we go. Claire, how about you? How are you dealing with it? Other than the heat, are we getting excited for the big day?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, isn't it? Because we've started to now make our plans. So me and Abby have our plans for how we're getting there, when we're getting there. I've met Chris this afternoon, so she's aware of the plans. We were very excited over our lunch, getting, all ready for it. But yeah, it's a hard one because it's a whole week, and a week is a long time. And I've got other stuff that I need to get done and be busy with. So, it's apparently people's birthdays this week, so I have to do stuff.
Who would that be? I don't know. No one's mentioned anything about it.
I've got a couple of them, but it's it keeps you busy. So.
That's true. Maybe in the downtime, in the quiet moments, you'll be thinking, Wembley.
It'll be when I'm laying in bed, and I have a little manifestation.
Yeah, dreaming of Maisie lifting the trophy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. Ben, how about yourself? How will you spend the lead into the weekend?
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I'm still completely agog that we're going. I think you don't start every season going, oh, we've got no chance of getting to anything, but you don't start the season expecting to get there. And as we've said so many times before, the way things were going sort of 3-4 months ago, you wouldn't have put any money at all on us getting to Wembley. So it's amazing. It's such a massive game for the women's team, but for the club, full stop, because obviously the boys haven't been to the FA Cup final since 1983. So yeah, I think just being at Wembley as an Albion fan, watching Albion. I've been there and watched the boys get beaten on penalties by Man United. But I've not been there that many times, and I've not really been there sort of watching a team that I'm really, really rooting for. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing, isn't it? And I'm sort of not quite kicking my heels, but as Abby said, there's stuff happening this week. It's half-term week, that sort of stuff, things to do with the kids and whatnot. But whatever.
Yeah,
roll on Sunday.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know about you guys, but I think I almost won't quite believe it until I'm in the stadium and I see all the other Brighton fans, because we obviously see each other on here, and we meet up before games and things like that. That's not out of the ordinary per se, although obviously I'll be up at Wembley. But I think it'll be when I see however many thousands of other Albion fans there, that it will finally and kind of look across at the Man City fans at the other end, and then that's going to be the kind of wow, like we're here, we can win this game. So I think that's when it will kick in. But I am going to be on the mention merchandise. There is going to be, or there is already, some sort of merchandise for the actual game itself. Some of it leaves a little bit to be desired, because we wanted more stuff with women's or the women's team on it. And it's kind of half and half, or maybe sort of 60-40 weighted towards it just says Brighton Hove Albion, which I it's difficult for me to wrangle in my head a little bit, because it kind of makes it seem like the men are going, or the club are going, and it's like
it's that thing of like, if you wear that out and about, 80% of people will just assume that's the men's team.
It was the men's team, exactly. Or you have it from, like Ben said, when they've got to the semi-finals or whatever. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, but I think for the most part, those of us that are getting merchandise are all buying the ones that do at least have the word women's on. So I would suggest, if you are a big fan of the women's team, then you can sort of go through and find the ones that are. I was
just annoyed because I really like the blue shirt, and I just thought maybe I could just get a permanent marker.
Might have to be Tipex.
Just write it in. Do you know what I mean?
Well, since it's Adobe, you could Photoshop it.
There you go. There you go.
I'm very glad now that I got the Liverpool scarf, because like we were saying, I was umming and ahhing about, if we'd lost, do I want it? But if we won, we'd get one for Wembley. Well, I'm not getting the Wembley one, because it just says Brighton Hove Albion, whereas the Liverpool one says Brighton Women. And
I think they've really missed a trick with that. I think somebody thinks they're being clever by just making it Brighton, that they'll sell more to everybody in general. But actually, I think they're missing the point that it is the women's team, and we want to support the women's team.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to seeing some like cool stuff to wear that's for the women's team, saying that I support the women's team.
Yeah, I mean, it does have women's FA Cup on the scarf.
That's the best. I think that's the only. I don't think there is anything specifically with Brighton women, but there is stuff with Adobe Women's FA Cup, which is something.
Quite small writing.
Yes,
it's the smallest font on the entire scarf is the bit that says Adobe Women's FA Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
think on the reverse, it's got Brighton Hove Albion versus Man City, and it's got the it's got the logo.
It's got the Adobe thing on it. Yeah. But yeah, it would have been nice to have like 4 or 5 different shirts, and a couple of them say women, or be more sort of vociferous with their sort of messaging that it's for the women's.
Word for this time of night.
Yeah, it's probably not really technically the right word.
It's too hot for that kind of language.
I was going to say that's in spite of the heat.
I know, exactly. I'm exhausted now. I have to take the rest of the podcast off.
We'll have complaints. I have no idea what he was talking about.
No, I haven't got an idea what I'm talking about half the time. So it makes all of us. But yeah, I'll be on the lookout. Our friend John, who goes to many of the games, many of you will know John. He has a sort of a bootleg Frank Kirby England scarf, and obviously a lot of the sellers who are not selling the official merchandise can't use like logos and badges and stuff, so they tend to go for faces. So I'm going to be on the lookout on the down low for maybe like a Maisie Simon's face on a scarf. Or
I'm kind of in two minds of like, do I just buy something when I get there?
I think that might be the way to go. Yeah, I mean, I've pre-ordered, but that's just me. I have to have everything organised in advance, or I just turn into a, especially in this heat.
Organised. I'm a terrible Virgo.
So obviously that's, you know, in the build up to the match. I don't know about you guys. Us as a family, we're driving up. I know a lot of people are driving. And this goes back to something that I think we kind of discussed on the last show, so we don't need to go too much into it. But the fact that the coach is kind of £35 for an adult and £30 for a kid, it's meant that a lot of people who do travel as a family have decided to go up by car. So I think there's still the rumbling is that there's still going to be 14 or 15 coaches, which I think is fantastic.
That's brilliant.
That is amazing. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Obviously, me and Abby will be traveling as a family.
Yes, a blended family. Yeah,
I'm not sure I'm trusted to get there on my own. Otherwise,
no.
Well, and we need to make sure you're there at the end of the day. So you know, but yeah, I think a lot of people are going that route purely because of the fact that it's just so expensive to go up with 4 people. So we'll obviously see how that goes. I know obviously you can get the train as well, so obviously find out about that if you need to. Wembley website gives you all the directions and stuff, and obviously when you do get there, you will be signposted if you're driving and stuff, so keep an eye out for that. There's lots of, you know, red car park this way, green car park that way, you know, all that sort of thing. So do keep your eye out for the road signs and follow those, because by and large they're better than the sat navs, especially on those London roads where they like to chuck a nice slip road at very short notice.
But also, and I remember this from going to various NFL games, they actually shut certain roads so your sat nav is useless.
Yeah.
Because it tries to take you down roads that are not existing and that aren't open. And so once you get within spitting distance, there's very good signage to get you into the stadium.
Yeah.
So you just follow that and kind of ignore your sat nav. And I should be relying on Claire Nav.
Claire Nav, yeah.
I'm in the back. It's nothing to do with me.
You just wake me up when you get there, sort of thing. Yeah.
I'll have a little sing song by myself.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Another thing in the build up, of course, and Austin has chipped in with this, is that there is an event on the Crossbar on Wednesday to do with the FA Cup. I think the FA Cup is actually going to be there. Ben's keeled over. I'm sure he's all right. Yes, there is an event at the Crossbar, so do head to that. I think there is like a guest list, but I think it's pretty much open to most people, or I wouldn't say to anyone, but yeah, if you've got any queries, you can get in touch with them in advance and just find out. But yeah, if you are in and around Brighton on Wednesday, do head to Crossbar. We've heard rumour of some special guests. I don't know.
It's me.
Is it you, Claire? Yes.
Yeah.
I think the cup itself is quite a special guest.
That is a special guest. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry about that, by the way. I just stood up to shut the window and then managed to kick everything over.
Oh, there you go. Well, as long as you didn't go over, then we're all right.
No, I'm good.
What's that? Someone said to me the other day, it might have been one of you guys actually. There's a fine line when you get to our age between like a trip or a fall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a fall.
Yeah. Did you fall over? Yeah. Or did you have a fall?
Did you have a fall?
Yeah.
That's it. I think it was you, Abby. There you go.
Yeah, very possibly.
Yes. Yeah. So there we go. But we're all right. We're all going to make it to Sunday, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
Or heat wave.
Or heat wave, or heat stroke, or whatever.
I think it's going to be a bit cooler, but inside, if it's above 20 inside Wembley, it's going to be hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a quick look, and according to wherever I'm looking, it's going to be 24 and partially Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, it's going to be 24 and partially cloudy.
So wearing a bikini underneath my top, I'll be all right.
I'm sure somewhere there's a blue and white striped bikini just for you, Claire.
I mean, is it still illegal to, streak across the pitch
I think so.
if we win?
And by still
Ben
illegal,
said
I
he'll
think
do it.
I think it's more illegal than it ever has been. I was sort of hoping if they give out those flags, they might put them to some use and sort of waft them towards me and call me out.
Just keep wafting, people.
Yeah,
keep wafting.
I'm baking over here. I'm
Maybe
drier
we
than
need to get
Gandhi's
those little
flip-flop.
fans that you can just wear around your neck or something.
Yeah, I've got one of those little ones from Amazon, 15 quid or whatever.
Yeah.
The amount of looks I get though when I use it somewhere, people are like, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? I brought it from home. I hope you brought enough for everyone.
More. You take a handful with you and then you go, 20 quid.
Yeah.
20 quid. How desperate are you? 20 quid.
Yeah, I think everyone would do it, wouldn't they? So yeah, there we go. So let's obviously talk a little bit about the match itself. Obviously, I think it's obviously going to be a tough outing against a good side, but it's a side we've beaten before. So I think from that element, we'd probably rather have faced Man City than Chelsea. I did speak to some of the players and kind of ask that, and there'll be sort of interviews coming out during the week of the actual sort of what do they call it, the transcription of those interviews, so you'll see bits and bobs. But yeah, by and large they were kind of doing the party line of we take whoever we can get sort of thing. But there was a little bit of an element where I did feel like they probably would have preferred Man City, just because of played against them twice really well this season, 1 win, 1 loss, but especially the loss could have been anything really. We all know how that game sort of changed at half time. So I think they wouldn't want to admit it, but I feel like there is a slight preference for Man City over Chelsea. So either way, it's going to be a good game. I thought maybe we could go through and sort of discuss who we think might be the starting 11. So I think we'll go in goal. I think it's going to be Chia, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That seems like quite an obvious one.
Baggers. No disrespect to Baggers or anyone else, but I mean, you can't leave your number one out on the biggest game of the season. Like, no,
best keeper in the world. So
yeah. I think that's a no-brainer, isn't it? And Baggers did get a run out against Spurs, didn't she? So it's not like she hasn't had an opportunity to kind of stake a bit of a claim, or we don't even know, it could be a little bit of a goodbye. But yeah, it's got to be Chia, hasn't it? I think probably the question is going to come whether we play 4 at the back or 5 at the back. I'm going to say 5 because I think that is how when we have played best, we have played 5 at the back. So I'm going to say Charlie Rule makes it in there. I'm going to say Marissa Oleslager's on the other side. And then the centre-back trio of Minami, Hayes and Venegas.
Pretty much.
Everyone.
Yeah, I think obviously the last couple of games has been that lineup, except Mo's not been at left back. She's been in centre mid, which I think was probably for specific reasons. I think against Liverpool, it was because Liverpool packed the midfield and they didn't want to get overrun there, which I think in the second half kind of worked more than the first half. But I think the first half was a bit weird for other reasons. But he sort of did it again against Tottenham, which it might have been for the same reason. But I think against Man City, we certainly played that 5 at the back thing, and it really did, apart from the dodgy 20 minutes at the beginning of the game, it worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think we spoke at the time, and probably, hopefully this is something we can key into on the weekend, is Kirsten Kasperide just had no joy down that right hand side, and she's, if she starts getting up the field and starts getting in and around the box, she's an assist waiting to happen for Bunny Shaw or whoever it may be. So you feel like, I don't think obviously everything is going to stay the same, because you do need to change 1 or 2 things. Dario wasn't happy that we conceded that second goal that kind of put us under pressure right towards the end. So, he'll be tweaking a few things, and also to keep them slightly on their toes, because again, you don't want to play exactly the same way as you did before. They certainly won't. So yeah, it makes sense, but you do want to do that same job on the kind of fullbacks, and in particular, I think Kasparai. You know, they really struggled because she struggled. I thought they struggled.
Yeah.
You know, so do you think that who would you say, along with Kasparai, I'll open this up to the floor, who's probably their sort of main like creative threat? Because Clinton she's hardly played this season. Obviously, they lost Park. Who would you be sort of looking at if it's not Kasparai? Who do you think is going to be sort of setting up those goals?
I think it's always Hemp.
Yeah,
It's Hemp or Miedemar if she's fit, and if they're both fit, then both of them. I think they're the two to really worry about, because if you can shut them down, then Bunny Shaw doesn't get any service. So you shut those three players down.
But then you've also got Carolyn.
You have,
and you've got Benet, and she was quite pivotal against us, I think, when we went up to Manchester.
Yeah, well, she was quite pivotal in Broadfield when she came on.
Yeah,
but she came on for Kasparai, who had been ineffective. Well, I think Mo Oleslagers basically handled Kasparai really well, so they changed it up a bit, and Benet came on and was a bit more influential. But yeah, I think Claire's, obviously, Lauren Hemp, possibly the best English player in the world. You know, well, best English player in whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. We know
best English player. So yeah, I think and again, I suppose the thing about the game at Broadfield was it was Rachel McLaughlin that really took Hemp out of the game. Just. Obviously, I don't think she's quite got Hemp's pace, but she was pretty much matching her, and really, Hemp was managing to get crosses in, but they were all a bit of a hurried effort, because she just didn't have any time on the ball. So, yeah, I suppose that is a little bit of a worry if she's going to be up against Charlie again, because Charlie hasn't got the pace to cope with her sometimes.
Did Charlie get taken off at half time in that game?
Yeah. She got taken off. She was knackered.
Yeah, she looks really tired, didn't she?
Yeah, so you sort of hope that if she's got a bit of rest on R&R under her belt, then hopefully she can cope. But I guess that's the thing, isn't it? If she isn't coping, then we have got a ready-made, if he does go with Rule and not McLaughlin, then, we have got she'll be on the bench ready to come on if Charlie is struggling. But yeah, they've got threats pretty much throughout their whole team, really, haven't they? Even Knack from corners is... quite dangerous. So
but she might not be fit. I think she wasn't fit for their last game. So
that would be a shame.
They might. Yeah, that's the thing I was looking at. Jade Rose is pretty good, but
she's very good.
Without Knack's aerial ability, they haven't got that much height in their defence without her. So that would be a shame, wouldn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I know a potential weakness for us to exploit if we get the opportunity. Yeah, I think Rose has been really good. I've spoken to a few Man City fans over the last week or two, and they said she's just seems to have come in and just hit the ground running, sort of thing, which is, not unlike the two sort of central defenders that we signed in terms of Moeka and Manu, where they just come in and they don't look like they need an adjustment period. They're just they're going from the start. So that'll be an interesting one, and also sort of who they play on the left-hand side of defence. I guess is if Greenwood's fit, she'll probably play left centre back probably, because she doesn't like playing actual left back, does she? She prefers to play left centre back. But one or two injuries could sort of throw them into having to rotate quite.
Well, against West Ham at the weekend, they played Benet up right back, Jade Rose and Alex Greenwood in the middle, and then Huabi on the left. So, does that mean Kasparai was on the bench? Probably just. I think they're probably just rotating a bit because it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, don't take any chances.
It was inverted commas, only West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, Knack wasn't on the bench. So
yeah, it'd be interesting. With a couple of weeks rest as well, it might be one or two might be back, I guess. I know Charlie said Hemp was taken off against West Ham, so I suppose again that depends whether she was it was a proper injury or whether it was a bit of a she's got a knock, so we're not going to take any risks.
That was 28 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, but the thing is that's the thing. In any other game, you'd go, okay, she's taking an injury, she's injured there, otherwise she could have carried on. But they had already won the league. So if you get a bit of a whack, what's the point in even risking it 1%? You know, you might as well come off and, you know, rest it up. And so, it wouldn't shock me if Hemp made a reappearance. She'll desperately want to play in that game as well. You know, I think that's just her as a player. And we've got a few of those as well. I think you'd have to, you know, physically restrain them from getting on the pitch. Otherwise they're going to be on there. So I've gone for a midfield of Simons, Cankovich and Kirby on the basis that Maddie will probably play towards the top of the midfield or as a deeper forward. But I'm counting her as a forward. So I think Simons, Cankovich and Kirby. Yeah, probably. That's again been the
Kirby up sort of attacking midfield really. Yeah. The other two sitting.
Yeah. Yeah, Maisie as the sort of six, the sitter, and then Yele as the box to box.
Yeah, because Yellow's been spending a lot of time up in defence, really, and
she has
up. She's got the speed, hasn't she? And the what do you call it? She's just like a Duracell bunny. She just keeps going. So
yeah, absolutely. So we might need, you know, it might be that case where she will rescue us once or twice in defence and also pop up in attack to maybe hopefully set up a couple or maybe even have a shot herself. You know, we've seen when she gets opportunity, you know, she can score a worldie or two. So I did mention incidentally to Rachel McLaughlin that she scored a worldie in the Scottish FA Cup. I said if she would maybe like to do that again in this game. So yeah, if it happens, I'm going to take credit for it.
Yeah, she's due one this season, isn't she?
She is. And I must admit, actually, I think 3 out of the 5 players I asked pretty much the same question, which is because they've got experience in cup competitions. So Nadine, Caitlin and Rachel have all played in cup finals in their respective clubs, previous clubs. In fact, Rachel's played in 5 Scottish Cup finals. I think it's 8, including the League Cup. I think that's the number I was thinking. But
but she was at Glasgow City before Rangers, wasn't she? So
yeah, I think she played twice for Hibs, once for Glasgow City, and twice for Rangers. And then Caitlin won it with Celtic once, I think.
So you're going to say Lewis right there.
Not the Scottish Cup. And then Nadine won the KNVB Women's Cup. I think at least once, might have been twice. Actually, I'm lying. I think it might be 3 times, twice with Ajax and once with Ardo. But yeah, I think that, you know, I asked them whether that would kind of play into it, or do you think that would be an advantage? And you know, they again very diplomatic. You know, might not make a lot of difference, but equally, you know, they have played in those one-off games before, and they've won in those one-off games before. And in the case of Rachel, she scored in those one-off games before. So you know, and those would have been at like Hampden Park or whatever. So not quite Wembley, but still a national stadium, big audience. So yeah, and Charlie points out Fuka, Kika, and Moeka have all won the AFC Champions League with Red. Yeah, that one.
Their previous club.
Yeah, their previous club. Yeah, good one. Good one. I didn't get to speak to them, Charlie, though. That's why I didn't mention them. But none of them came for the media day. But I'm sure they were resting up, making sure they're at full power for Sunday. Yeah, and then forward line, I've gone obviously for Madison Haley and Kiko Seiki. I think they'll both play. Whether Maddie ends up more in midfield, I'm not sure. But you know, we're going to need a goal at some point if we want to win the game. So, you know, Kiko, I think, will kind of lead that charge.
I think it's quite interesting that when they're quite fluid with the, you know, we don't have a 9, so they kind of take it in turns to occupy that sort of 9 area. And I mean, I really like it when Kiko and Maddie are sort of close together as well, because when Kiko ends up being more of a winger, she can be quite effective. But when they're the two of them as this sort of 2-pronged, sort of 8.5 each kind of thing, they can be quite devastating. I think, taking on centre backs together.
Yeah, they are developing, or they do have some sort of partnership, don't they? They do. It doesn't always come off, but I think that's some of the limitations of not having many forward players. Is if one pass goes astray, then there is no one else to kind of pick it up, or it either goes to the right player or it goes to them, sort of thing. Whereas, perhaps if you've got 5 or 6 players up in contention, then you maybe still pick up the loose ball or whatever it may be. I've got some messages from the players. I'm just going to put one in here so that I don't have to shoehorn them in all the later. Let's hear from Caitlin first. So this is Caitlin with her message for the Albion fans.
Can't wait to see you.
That is not Caitlin. That is Charlie Rule. That was Charlie Rule. That was just a test to make sure they
were paying attention.
Do you see how quickly I clicked off it, though? That was good. That was reflexes. Right, here's Caitlin.
My message would be, no matter if you're male, female, old, young, if you look at a Brighton badge and you feel you support it, come will us to do well at Wembley on Sunday.
There we go. Thank you, Caitlin, for that message. Very kind of you to participate and help out the SheGulls. Get yourselves down there, basically, was Caitlin saying. If you haven't already, get your tickets now. Because Caitlin told you, and, who's going to refuse Caitlin? I mean,
I wouldn't argue with her.
No, exactly. No. Exactly. She's both the nicest and in some ways the most aggressive player.
I think intimidating rather than aggressive.
Intimidating. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Sorry, Kate.
Intensive.
Yeah. I was talking to her about her ups. Again, this is something if you're an audio listener, you might have seen already in the interviews that will go on SheGulls. But I was talking to her about her ups. I said they're almost becoming a little bit of a meme now, because we're sort of, when we hear us going up, we're all going up, we're just chanting along with her, sort of thing. And I said, what's it, like to kind of be the leader of the defence? And she sort of said, she started out by sort of talking about the fact that because she is obviously, probably the one out of the 3 of them with the best grasp of English and needing to pass on messages to other parts of the team, it kind of falls to her to communicate. But she said she's in constant communication with Manu and Moeka, but they're just not quite as loud. I think Manu probably could be if she wanted to be, but Moeka not so much. So she's doing these ups to kind of spread that out amongst the team. We're coming up, don't stand around dawdling because we're going to catch you up, sort of thing. But she also said, which I thought was really cool, is basically she likes using them as like an intimidation tactic.
No, absolutely.
She said she will shout them in players' ears. She'll make them jump by shouting it. She basically said anything to make them uncomfortable, anything to make the attacker sort of have to think about her and worry about her to a certain extent, and where is she, and what's she doing, and is she going to shout up in my ear again in about 5 seconds out of nowhere? But I just thought that was super cool, because it's not often you'll hear a player talk about the kind of little the little things that you might need to do to just gain that edge. And I remember something with Leah Williamson when we watched, it was when we got beat, I think, was it 3-0 in that last away game? Or it might have been more. I think I tuned out at that point. But a couple of years ago at Boreham Wood, I just noticed Leah Williamson's got this thing where basically when the ball is coming, even if she can't get the ball, she'll give you a little nudge in the back. And it really works in terms of, even if she then moves away, the attacker, still thinks she's there because she literally just touched them. It's kind of like a mental thing of like, oh, she's behind me
Mm.
because she's just nudged me. And then sometimes they'll turn around and then she'll be right there to nick the ball away and things like that. And I just think these little things that might be the difference between a player getting it past you or whatever it may be, or taking you on as opposed to shying away and things like that. So and against someone like Bunny Shaw, you know, if there's any little way you can gain a tiny edge, it's good to hear that players like Caitlin are thinking about it. So yeah, I mean, do you think ultimately we've got to win, right, Claire? You know, if we have to use a few dark arts, it's probably okay, right?
Always take one for the team if you have to. I'm good with it. Don't get sent off, but you know, if you've got to be a bit more physical, then why not? You know, they've got all the money to buy the best players. We've got all the best players for giving you a little dig.
Yeah, it feels like with someone like Bunny Shaw, you have to give her the what she will give you, sort of thing.
Well, I think when you've got really talented players who they can turn something out of nothing, and if you give them that space to do it, they will. So don't give them the space. Make it really uncomfortable, make it really difficult, get in their face, start digging at their ankles a little bit, make it so they know that anytime they try and turn, you're there and you're not letting them pass. Yeah,
very good point. I mean, I'm not a big one for like time wasting and stuff, but I think this is where the line gets quite fine in terms of, you know, everyone's going to do it if you're winning late on in the game. Man City will do it. We will do it to a certain extent. I don't think we would take the mick like some teams do. But this is, you know, Abby, this is sort of the more acceptable side, isn't it, of the gamesmanship.
That was exactly the word I was going to use. It's gamesmanship, and there's a very fine line between strolling over to pick up a ball for a throw-in, you know, taking your time, making sure the ball's positioned exactly as you want it when you're on a corner, and things like that, as opposed to lying on the floor in abject agony because your leg's just fallen off, only for it to be miraculously reattached 30 seconds later, you know, or you get kicked in the shins, so you go down holding your head. You know, there's certain things that are, you know, deleterious to the game.
Oh my, it's another big word. What is going on?
and to the overall, you know, image of the game, particularly as this is going to have a lot of, you know, neutral eyes on it. And then there's, you know, the you know, pure gamesmanship, which, you know, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, and yes, just don't get sent off, because the last thing we need is to go down to, you know, 10 players against, you know, spoiler, I think we can win, but it will be a dang sight harder with one fewer player on the pitch.
Absolutely. I think from the referee's point of view, Ben, she's probably got to, you obviously want her to be sort of authoritarian, so, you know, fair and even-handed from the beginning, but not sort of rushing into yellow cards and stuff too early, because otherwise it can present a bit of a problem later on, can't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think, I mean, you've got to lay down the law and be consistent. So if somebody does a thing that warrants booking, or, you know, or dives across the ball, handballs it, and brings down our player in the box in the 4th minute, you've got to give a penalty and send the player off, because just because it's early in the game, it doesn't mean you can get away with stuff. I think, you know, and it. So they've just got to be consistent, really. I think that's all you want, isn't it? In a ref is for them to treat both teams equally, and both, you know, and you know, each sort of decision on its own merits, rather than all, you know, because what we've said before about Katie McCabe, that refs know that she's probably going to do something that needs booking, so they'll shy away from booking her almost in the whole of the first half, because they think, well, I don't want to send her off, so I'll just warn her this time, and maybe I'll book her next time, sort of thing. So players like that will get away with a hell of a lot of dodgy stuff and rugby tackles and things like that, because of the reputation they have. So yeah, I think you know, just every decision on its own merits, really, I think is all we can ask for. So let's hope we get it.
Let's hope.
Basically, we need to be vexatious, apparently.
Ah,
Very good.
another
Well,
word.
I'd throw one in, you know.
Did you,
It's
did you
Ben's
look that?
turn now. Come up
I
with a
wonder
fancy
what
word.
you were typing.
I just, like, what? How do you say that word again?
Thesaurus.com.
Thesaurus.com. I'm not been showed up on this show. I'm an author, don't you know?
Right, guess who we're going to hear from now?
Is it Charlie?
It is.
Can't wait to see you. Like, it's going to be a special day for all of us. We want everyone to be there, everyone from Brighton. All your support this season has been immense. Like, we've really felt it, and we can't wait to see you at Wembley cheering us on, and we're going to do it for you.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Oh,
Going to do it for us.
Lovely to hear that one.
Love it.
Awesome. And one of the things I spoke to Charlie about in particular was the fact that, you know, she came across from Australia. She's very young. You know, one of the two players she came across from, her compatriot, basically left after 6 months. Then Charlie was injured for a long time. And I basically said, you know, and I think you'll be able to guess the answer, but was it worth those kind of difficult times and when you didn't know when you were going to be back, and, you know, you're a young player away from home, is it all worth it to play in the FA Cup? And of course she said absolutely 100% yes, definitely. So I think that's really nice for Charlie because, you know, I think she's still got a way to go, but she still is a very young player. And actually, you know, although she has been here, I think would it be 3 years this year? She did miss probably 18 months of that. You know, so yeah, I think she's very conscious of the fact that she is where she is. You know, she did say that, you know, she was another player I asked about the you know, playing in finals and being around finals and stuff for Australia, and she said that, you know, she did definitely think that being on the Australian squad and playing regularly was helping to improve her game. So yeah, she could really sort of, I think she has announced herself on the world stage already by playing for Australia, but she could go up a notch, I think, if she has a really good game on Sunday. So we will of course hope for that. I think we'll do our predictions, but I think maybe we'll go around and just sort of maybe say what with how we're thinking the game will unfold, and then we can go to the actual numbers side of things. So I'll start with Ben on this one. So if Brighton are to win, how do you think what would the methodology be, do you think, to try and get that win?
I mean, just play like they did for the last hour of the game at Broadfield, really. I think in that game, we just allowed them to just come at us, and I think there were individual mistakes made, but they also, you know, Man City came out with such an aggressive press, and we just struggled to cope with it. And I think we've just got to sort of cope with that better, and also hit them as well. So yeah, I think, you know, we you know, the best way to stop Kirsten Kasparov getting crosses in is to have her defending her own box, not attacking ours. You know, same. I mean, it's kind of the same with Lauren Hemp. She isn't a defender like Kasparov, but she does do quite a lot of defending if she has to. If you're getting in behind them and things. So that's just something. I think just sort of composure. I think as well. And I think again that game, they did look flustered for a lot of that first period, by the sort of quality of Man City and the intensity of Man City. I think just knowing that's coming and knowing that we can cope with it and knowing that we're good enough to be in this game. So I think just that really, just playing like they know they can play.
Yeah, not being sort of overawed by the occasion.
Yeah,
by
well,
the opponents.
I think the semi-final was a huge occasion, and again, I think maybe the first half in that possibly they were a bit overawed by it. But you know, there's a lot. I mean, a lot of the players in this squad have been at very big games. I mean, you know, you obviously mentioned the three, all the various ones that have won their own sort of domestic cups or sort of cups for other teams and Champions League for other teams. Obviously, Fran has won everything, been there, seen it, and done it. Yeli Chankovic as well, to a slightly lesser extent. So, you know, there's plenty of big game players there now, and I think they just kind of have to know it collectively that that they're good enough. You know, you look across at the other team and like, yeah, they've just won the WSL, but you know, player for player, I look at the player opposite me. Is she any better than me? I don't know. You know, so I think it's just going out there knowing that.
Yeah, that sort of belief thing, and I think that's probably where they've maybe tripped up a little bit. Not in the Arsenal game, interestingly, but I think, like you say, maybe at the beginning of the Man City game in the league, and I think probably in the Liverpool game it was almost like they were a bit they didn't want to concede first, and that was in their head because they were worried if they conceded first, maybe a little bit about where the goals are going to come from. And I think that naturally puts you on the back foot against a team who's just thinking, well, we need to score. So, you know, especially in a cup game, you know, there's no point in a 0-0 draw. At some point, you're going to have to score more goals. And, you know, it could come to penalties, of course, but even so, you still need to score more than the other team at some point. So, you know, and I think sometimes when you do concede that first goal, it then makes you think, well, we've got to do something because we're going to lose otherwise, you know. And in the Liverpool game, I think we just got a bit caught cold from the first goal. They get the second, but it was almost like it was destined that we were going to get one back very quickly, because it was almost like they went, no, this can't happen. We're 2-0 down. Like this is not going. We need to get at least one back very quickly, and they just did. Took a while to get that second, of course, but by that time there was only going to be one winner, really. Yeah. So it's just. It's kind of going out like they did against Arsenal and not having that kind of shaky first 20 minutes or the 10 minutes after half time or whatever it may be, and just playing one whole consistently good game. So, you know, that'll be the ask, really. Abby, do you feel like if it's going to be like one goal either way, or it's going to be like a big scoring game, which do you think sort of favours the Albion, would you say?
Oh, you could have saved this.
Hang on. There we go. You paused just enough time for me to get it in there.
Do you know, I much prefer it when you give me the awkward question before the jingle. Although I'm still not sure about the answer. I just to reply to something in the comments, just to buy myself some more time. I would not like penalties, Charlie. No,
Charlie. Can you stop with the negative?
Stop it.
Stop it.
Mother will not survive penalties.
No, I won't survive penalties.
Claire won't. I won't. You know, my flipping heart rate monitor will be going like
it was bad
crazy.
Bad enough with England in the blooming Euros.
Oh,
and I'm not.
Yes.
Though I love the Lionesses, I'm not anywhere near as attached to them as I am to Brighton.
Yes. I think either one works well. Possibly going ahead and getting a good buffer would favour us. But equally, we have come back against teams. And I think that's the big difference between sort of like middle of the season and where we are now. You know, in this latter half of the season, we've beaten Arsenal 2-0 to dump them out the cup. We've come back and won against Man City. And that's almost the better of those results, because we've shown that we can come back against these teams. We've come back against Liverpool. That is just going to be building their mental resilience and the belief that we can do it, and not we're going to go 2 goals down, heads drop, that's it, let's get the train back to Lancing. Now it is okay, we're 2 goals down, let's get one back very quickly and then get back into the game. So I would like it to be, several goals buffer to our advantage, which would be nice. But yeah, a win's a win, and I'll take anything.
That's very true. Yeah, no one really. I think unless it's like a really good cup final. You know, there's been a few in the past where it's sort of back and forth, and somebody scores in the 90th minute. Those get remembered, but by and large, people really just remember like when they won it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did win it. You know, especially if you're Brighton and you haven't won anything since the Charity Shield in 1914 or whatever. You know, so yeah, I think either way, we're gonna celebrate the win. Claire, do you think, kind of coming off what Abby was saying, do you think a kind of a defensive stalemate suits us better than an open back and forth game, or actually are we better against teams who are kind of come out and attack us?
I think that the reason we have had such a good end to the season is that we are actually, teams like Man City, Arsenal, etc. They will allow you to play because they believe they're better than you. So they're not worried about what they think you might do. So they'll give you the space. I think where we struggle is, like Abby said, if you don't start that first 10 minutes, if you're struggling to settle and Man City score, when you're at Broadfield, it's not such a biggie. At Wembley, I think that sets your mind into, oh shit, we're at Wembley, we're going to lose. So for me, I want to see that. I've said it all season. We play our best football when we go out and we start from the first kick on them all the way, and just, we did it against Man City at the beginning of the season at Man City. We fell away in the second half and let them get back into the game. But we were strolling that in the first half. We got back into it at the Broadfield after they went ahead, and we were strolling that. There's no reason to turn up at Wembley and then go, oh, we're scared of you. Let's just not settle. Just go at them. Just have at them, because, you've already proved twice you can do it. And they don't know how to deal with you. They're not expecting to deal with you. So, yeah, I'm just like, just go at them.
I also think it's slightly easier to kind of defend a performance against the fans if you go out and kind of try to win the game and you end up losing. I mean, there was a situation yesterday with the men's team where they really needed to win to make sure they got into Europe. And I watched most of it until they went 3-0 down, just to bury the lead where I'm going here. But they came out very much like, oh, we mustn't concede early, rather than coming out and thinking we need to win this game. They come very tentative.
Yeah.
And it was like, then United scored before they knew it, they'd scored again. And then there was just no way they were going to get back into
and
it.
That's something that I do worry about. I think if you give Manchester City a chance, they will take it. And if they get a goal up at Wembley, I think that's a bigger problem for us than if we went 2-0 down at Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're used to playing at Liverpool's grounds. We're used to playing at Broadfield. We're used to playing at all of these smaller WSL teams' grounds. Wembley is a completely different prospect for every single person there, apart from Fran Kirby.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, before we do the predictions, let's hear from another Albion legend, I dare say. Here's Nadine with her message for the fans.
I'm really looking forward to the final Wembley. I hope to see all of you there. You were behind us the whole season, and yeah, I'm sure that you will all show up and cheer us on, and we get the energy from you guys on the pitch. And yeah, let's hope for the best. And I'm so excited, and I'm really looking forward to it. And see you there.
There you go.
I'm sad. Absolute legend. We need to name a new stadium after her, actually.
That's I mean, if we win, I think that goal will go down as one of, infamously, there's Stuart Storer, which kept us in the league. And I think the game before, Craig Maskell scored, which basically, if we'd have lost that game, we would have gone out of the league. So there's like a couple of really historic, because we haven't won cups as a club.
Robbie Reinout at Hereford.
Robbie Reinout, sorry, yes, beg your pardon. Yeah, of course. So it's like, if we end up winning the FA Cup, people are going to remember Nadine's goal going forward decades, because that's going to be the first time we won a major trophy for the men or the women, and that is could potentially be the kind of goal that got us there. So yeah, she was,
and then a stadium, we could call the stadium the Noodle.
Yeah. Yeah, the Noodle's Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Right, okay, we'll do predictions. We just had a video, so I'm going to do Claire last. I will start with Abby. And I'm making a special note because this is the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I think 2-0.
2-0. Okay, it's a strong start. I assume you're going for the Albion.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Well, we are the home team.
Yeah,
so...
that's true.
Yeah.
You did go for that draw once, you see, so I thought I'd best check.
No,
Okay.
2-0 to the Albion.
2-0 to the Albion. Okay, Ben.
Right, I was sort of a bit torn. I've got two here. I was going to say 2-1, but actually 3-2 is our lucky score at the moment. Because that's what we beat them by, and that's what we beat Liverpool by. So I'm going to say 3-2. I can't quite imagine, even with the best goalkeeper in the world, that Bunny Shaw is going to be kept out for 90 minutes. But I think, 3-2. I think.
Okay, I like it. That's quite 5 goals would be nice. 5 goals and we win would be lovely. Here we go, Claire. Ready? There we go.
Are these getting longer?
No, but we haven't got to Chankity Chank yet. That's a 6-minute masterpiece of now.
I'm desperate for Chankity Chank.
Thought you were going to say it was going to take the whole 20 minutes then.
It's just to distract from the fact that I only managed to think of 7 questions. But yes, Claire, I mean, it has got to happen sometime. It
has got to happen. And I would absolutely love it to be an FA Cup. I don't see it.
No.
I think it will be quite tight. I think it'll be 2-1 to us, obviously.
Okay. I like it. I mean, to be fair, Ben did suggest 5 goals. So if we got 4 of them,
we'll have it.
That would be 4-1. So
we're taking it, whatever it is. I don't care really. I'll have any old result.
That's true.
In off of someone's backside, I'll take it.
I think I'll probably go for the most obvious one that no one's been for, which is 1-0.
1-0, yeah. I did think about that.
Yeah.
But then that would clash with my bold prediction. So
yes, that's true. Good thinking, Claire.
So I couldn't go with that one.
For continuity purposes.
Yeah. I'm
well
good.
done.
I thought I'd keep on board with
Is that like a tense stalemate with a 95th minute goal again, or is that we score in the 3rd minute and then hang on?
Oh, God, I sort of hope it's the latter. I don't know. Because then at least if we score early, then I know if they score, we're not losing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's difficult. But I feel like whatever happens, it's going to be tense. I'd like to think that we're not going to be in this situation where we're just like, oh God, well, that was that then. You know, like I don't feel like this team will get themselves in that situation. So
I think the thing is, I think both teams will probably come out and be a little bit like, let's just edge our way into this. I mean, I'm hoping we don't. I hope we just go full pelt. But at some point, it's got to register. It's a cup final. It doesn't. There's nothing else after this. You have to do it now. So you might as well just go for it. You've got nothing to lose.
Exactly. So we've got 2-0 to the Albion from Abby, 3-2 to the Albion from Ben, 2-1 to the Albion from Claire, and I have gone 1-0 to the Albion as well. So what a shock. We've all gone for Brighton to lift the trophy.
Shock. I wonder what the listeners at home are saying.
I wonder, yeah. I expect they're all going for the Albion as well, because I'd be shocked if many Man City supporters are listening, but you never know. They might be trying to
Spygate.
Spygate. I suppose it's worth, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, that as Abby said, that we've been designated the home team. So we will be playing in blue and white stripes. and so Man City will have to wear their away kit, which means presumably they'll be wearing black, because I think their other ones their third kit's a bit too pale. So they'll be in black, which hopefully means they'll get really, really hot as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll just give them reminders of being at Broadfield and losing.
Yeah. So
There you go. Yeah, it's not their lucky kit at the moment, is it? So yeah, obviously we'll see on the day. Shall we have another little player video here? This time we're going to get Carla's message to the fans.
Hello everyone. First of all, we are so grateful that we have you guys in every game. It has been so exciting, my first seasons with you guys, and thank you so much for everything. And we are looking forward to be with you again, all together in Wembley, and let's win. Come on, SheGulls!
Hey, come on, SheGulls. I told her to say "come on, SheGulls," but no. I'm just kidding. She did that herself of her own volition. So yes, thank you very much, Carla. Very, very positive person, and very, very lovely to talk to. So hopefully, I spoke clearly and concisely enough for her to understand what I was saying most of the time. So thank you for that, Carla. So we've got our predictions, but we did think, just for a bit of a laugh, we're all about the laughter on this show, especially with some of our predictions. To be honest with you, they don't. You have to be game for a laugh when you get as many wrong as we do. But there we go. You never know. One day we'll all be right. Well, no, we can't all be right. But
was I right once? I can't remember.
I'm sure we've all been right once or twice. Yeah. Just by sheer
last 3 seasons.
I think it was just once, because I remember it happening and thinking, "Wow, I got it right." I think it might even have been
right with the score this season.
Yes,
I can't remember which one it was, but you were right with one of your score.
I think it might have been the Arsenal quarter-final, actually.
Oh, there you go. I like the optimism, and it worked on that occasion. So there we go. But yeah, we normally do before the season our bold predictions. We thought it would be quite fun to have a bold prediction from each of us for the FA Cup final. So very specific to the FA Cup final, which is why we're not doing like 3 per person like we normally do. So in this case, I will start with Claire. So Claire, for the FA Cup, what is your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that Brighton will be winning 2-0 at half-time.
That's very bold. Very bold. So that fits in with your prediction of 2-1.
Yep.
So you think they might 2-0 up at half-time.
2-0 up.
Man City get it back, and then we all have to sit there
and dread it for the last 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. That feels like the Brighton way, though, to be honest. That feels like how we would win a cup.
Yeah.
It's by basically us chewing our nails down to the quick.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. They might capitulate and we come flying out and get a third. Who knows? Just manifest it.
That's true. Yeah. No, I like it though. 2-0 up. I think that is quite bold. Even though I think we all hope and we all think that Brighton will win. To be 2-0 up at half time would be rather nice. Let's say that.
Yep, I'm happy with it.
Abby, your bold prediction, please, for the FA Cup final.
I think and hope, but I predict that we will have a clean sheet.
Okay.
We will keep them out.
And again, for continuity purposes, Abby did go 2-0, so stuck to your guns. I like that.
Best keeper in the world.
I've crossed myself up a few times when I've been on multiple podcasts for one game. Like you predicted one time, one the other. Yes, a clean sheet. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've kind of gone for that. I've gone 1-0. I think one of the most difficult things Man City will have to do is they will have to beat Chia. I think that's
we're going to get past Caitlin first, and then Chia, and I think that's where we do stand a chance. I think because they're on form at the moment. So
absolutely. And we have depth in the defence. We don't, not necessarily elsewhere, but we do have depth. So we can bring Rachel on. We can bring Maylise on. They are very strong. Substitutes to have on the bench.
And certainly if you need a different type of defender, I mean, a good example being that Man City game. I think obviously, Charlie did look a bit leggy in that game, but also I think she was trying to physical Lauren Hemp's pace, and it wasn't working. And what did work was Rachel McLaughlin's pace versus Lauren Hemp's pace. It kind of, she was able to nullify her a little bit better. Hopefully Charlie, you know, like I say, rested and 100% fit.
Wasn't that just after she'd had that mammoth journey back from Australia?
I think it was, yeah.
Because
so
she'd had to go one way around the world, then all the way around the other way, and
yeah. So I think you can excuse her for that, and you know, certainly not everyone is going to have the best game every single game, are they? You know, let's face it, if you had the best game every single game, you'd probably be at Chelsea or someone like that. So you know, you have to take some of the rough with the smooth, but yeah, I think it's good that we can put on someone who is in theory as good a player but just offers something a little bit different. You know, and that's probably where, you know, we've talked long about it, but you know, the striker situation is the kind of standout thing of like, who do you put on who brings you something different? I think Carla is one of those. So you know, that'd be interesting, especially if we do need a goal later on in the game. If she can come on and do what she did against Arsenal, which was essentially create a nuisance of herself, then maybe that's the change up that we'll need at that point. Ben, have you had time to okay, I'm going to come to you then, Ben.
I've sort of borrowed it because this is one that the lovely Noodle made before the semi-final.
Okay.
Well, kind of. I think, I'm not sure if she actually said someone will score for the first time, but I think it's going to be someone who... Actually, I was going to say don't usually score, and I'm going to say this: there will be somebody will score their first goal of the season.
Okay, that's a good shout. There's a couple of those I'm thinking off the top of my head that might be likely. Maisie would probably be number one.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Yeah,
if she got the winner, I would just absolutely burst into tears.
What about cheer?
So you probably burst into tears.
I was thinking cheer for a 95th minute.
Last minute corner.
Go up for it.
They're going to blow the whistle. Moeka scoring with the world's most reserved celebration.
Yeah. We'll be going absolutely insane, and she'll be like, "Yeah,
she'll just be like,
quite a good one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah."
Yes. There's a few there that haven't scored this season that you think maybe ought to have done or normally would have done. And obviously there's a few newbies in there as well. So I think someone will get their first goal of the season.
Has Olislager scored this season?
Yeah. I think most of the first 11 would have, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, obviously
Venegas has. Has
Charlie hasn't.
No. So she might be another good shout.
She's been quite maraudy down the right wing when she's got the opportunity. So you never know, flying into the box and getting on the end of something. And she's very tall for the corner, you know.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's bold but possible, which I think is what we're aiming for, really, in theory. Yes. So my bold prediction is that somebody will score an own goal, and I'm not saying for which team. It could go in our favour or against us, but I've just got a feeling someone's going to get a bit desperate at some point and end up making a little mental error.
You have predicted us to win 1-0, Duncan. So.
Yes,
If we're going for continuity, it's going to be a Man City own goal.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
I think we're owed an own goal by this point.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Man City own goal. That's very bold in that case.
Very bold.
The odds on that are probably quite high.
Put 50p on.
Maybe, yeah. Although that's the classic thing though, isn't it? You put 50p on and win like 25 quid and you think, I should have bet 10 on it. Would have had 500. So there we go. So those are our bold predictions. I think they're pretty bold. I'm quite pleased with those. We're seeing as we came up with them on short notice.
Literally 2 minutes before we went on air.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that is the SheGulls way, no?
You know, winging it.
I very often am writing the notes once we all get on the call just before we start. So
yes, and then we're all going like it's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock. Yeah, and I'm still writing furiously. And somehow we still normally get 2 hours out of it. I'm not sure if we're going to get 2 hours out of tonight, but we'll see because we've obviously got Chankity Chank coming up. let's hear from our last player, which is Rachel McLaughlin, and she spoke to us, and this is her message for our fans.
I think my biggest message was just be as loud as you can. I think going and looking back to this full season, we've heard you at every home game, every away game, no matter how many of you there are, and there has always been great numbers even at the away games, which has been so impressive, and we're generally so thankful for it. So yeah, definitely just get the singing voices on. It'll help back every single person on that pitch, and yeah, I can't wait for seeing you out there.
There we go.
Oh,
We've said it all season. We've got to turn up and bring the noise.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I must admit, like the other players did express privately, you know, the fact how much they appreciate the fans and stuff. I mean, they've all said they appreciate the fans, but obviously Rachel adding, you know, the fact that, you know, we've been at all the games and making noise and stuff like that. So, yeah, they were all exceedingly grateful for all the fan support, and you know, they just want us to turn up, be loud, and be proud on Sunday, and you know, hopefully they'll do the talking on the pitch. So there we go. Before we go to Chankity Chank, especially as we're only an hour and 10 minutes in, so we've got a bit of time. Let's have a little chat about the playoff to get into the WSL. Not in too much detail, but we can obviously cover the result and things like that. But let's also talk about like the teams coming up, and you know, how we sort of see the WSL shaking out next year. So, Ben, you watched the game, I think, didn't you? The playoff final. So obviously it was Charlton against Leicester. Neither team could score in normal time. So obviously it goes to extra time and penalties. Yeah, Ben, what did you make of both teams, and you know, what would be sort of your prognosis going forward for both of them?
I mean, it kind of went pretty much as I expected, in that it was kind of two buses parked in a field. I think, I mean, it kind of feels sorry for both of them. I mean, Leicester, I mean, I was going to say their season's fallen apart, but it wasn't really particularly in much shape. Although they were quite a few points clear of both West Ham and Liverpool at Christmas, but then didn't score a single point sort of this year, kind of thing. So, and they only scored 11 goals in the WSL. So, you know, not entirely surprising to see them there and struggling. And Charlton was sort of running away with WSL 2. And then the last sort of couple of months, it's, you know, the wheels have come off, as it were, to stretch the bus analogy even further. So it wasn't the world's greatest game of football, and I think, you know, penalties was. I think after about 20 minutes, I said, "This is going to penalties."
You did, yeah.
And you know, an absolute blinder from Lewis's own Sophie Whitehouse. Spent 2 seasons at Lewis before she went to Charlton. Obviously from Enfield up. Very North London. But yeah, she saved 4, which is amazing. I mean, a couple of them were quite poor penalties, but a couple of them were really, really good saves. And yeah, I think any penalty save is a good save. So yeah, I mean, it was quite. But then I suppose, I mean, the other way, Katie Keane also saved 2 penalties. So
yeah, she didn't.
You know, I don't think anyone really
herself
glory. I mean, I think, you know, as the season has sort of panned out, Charlton are going to be probably the favourites to finish bottom, I think, of the WSL next year. Whether or not Leicester can get any sort of recovery going, because obviously their men's team is in free fall as well. So hopefully they can consolidate and not drop straight out of the bottom of WSL 2 as well. But yeah, I mean, Charlton, you know, I think it's one of those things where a team comes up and they have, you know, there's a certain loyalty to the players that have got them there, but then there's also the realization or whatever that you're going to need to bring in some WSL quality players. So it's always a bit of a shame. There's always quite a high turnover, and it's whether they can make that work, isn't it? But I think, you know, the plan, the club's very ambitious. Obviously, you know, they're WSL people of old, FA Cup winners, that sort of stuff. So they're they're going to want to make a go of it. But I think, you know, I suppose, you know, normally in the olden days, sort of obviously pretty much before this season, the team that came up was favourite to go down. Bristol City season before last or whatever, and then Palace before that, Palace most recently. But obviously West Ham were pretty awful as well. So there's probably going to be 4 of them vying for the bottom of the table. So yeah, it just really depends on what sort of thing they can do with their squad over the summer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they kind of do the whole, like, you know, virtually let everyone go and just buy a whole new team, or whether they kind of, like you say, I think teams coming up over the last 3-4 years they've kind of, some of them have done one thing and some of them have done the other. Yeah. And in no way has it really worked, except obviously LCL came up last season, but they were able to buy new players, but buy like incredible, well, not necessarily incredible, but they were able to go and buy players who they knew, even if there's no team, the individual players will do enough to keep us up, which is, I think, kind of what they are right now.
Yeah.
But it shows what you have to do to give it a go, you know, in the WSL, that they had to come up and spend a couple of million. It must have been at least, if not quite a bit more. I think they spent nearly 1.5 on Gioro, didn't they? So it's probably closer to 4 or 5, and they've only finished mid-table. So, you know, I think what's going to help is the fact that only one team again next season is going to automatically go down. So if that, you know, looking ahead, if that is speculatively Charlton, then it's only going to be one of potentially Birmingham or Crystal Palace or West Ham, whoever it may be, is going to go in that relegation playoff. So at least one of the promoted sides is going to stay up, and quite possibly 2. And obviously, you know, it could be more, obviously, if Charlton can avoid bottom, but it is going to be really tough for them, because I think out of all the clubs that you look at their squad makeup and stuff, they do seem to be, although they had that really good, they were running away with it at one point. If you look at their individual players and the kind of how ready they are to play in the league above, to me, they're the least well equipped.
Yeah.
And I think they probably will be the one out of all the 14 WSL teams who finds it the hardest to recruit.
I think it's another thing as well. It's the same with Leicester. They've only scored 31 goals this season in all the won 12 games, but there weren't a lot of hammerings of the other teams. I mean, you know, Birmingham scored 46, Palace 44, Bristol City 47, Southampton 44. You know, even Newcastle scored more goals than they did. Just obviously they only conceded 21, but you know they don't have a lot of goals. So you know, and that's you know, we haven't got a striker because we couldn't find one. If we couldn't find one, how are they going to, you know, unless they sort of wholesale sort of nick the entire Leicester squad or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Abby, you know, speaking about Leicester a little bit, you know, are they were they sort of architects of their own downfall? I mean,
yes.
the people I feel really sorry for are the fans, really.
Absolutely, because one of the real bright spots of last season was we went up to Leicester and we actually had a really, well, apart from the score, we had a really nice away day. They saw, you know, my scarf with the rainbows on. So immediately, you know, some of their people came over and had a chat. And then, you know, Stuart from Proud SheGulls had been in touch with their LGBTQ plus group. And it was a really lovely, positive, happy environment. And they were a really good bunch of people. And you just felt, when we went up this time, it just felt like a club that had given up in all respects. And I think it was them that sacked their manager like 10 days before the start of the season.
Yeah.
And to actually give her some huge props, their keeper, who very nearly kept them in the WSL, was 19 years old, and I think she's their 3rd keeper.
She is, yeah.
So that's the equivalent of, you know, and I'm sure Hannah's a very, very fine keeper, but that's the equivalency of Hannah coming in, you know, very last minute. 'Cause I think Keane came on as a sub in one of their later games and has then sort of had to stay there. So to then, you know, keep them in that penalty shootout is really good going. So, you know, big props to her. But the whole club just feels like it was on its way out. And yeah, the fact that they sacked their manager just before the season. Now, whether or not she deserved it, that's immaterial. It's that they did it 10 days before the start of the season. And then they've not invested. They've not really strengthened. They've not done anything with the players that they've got in. I think, you know, I often talk about, you know, Emily Van Egmond. I think she's very good, but I don't think they used her. I don't think they've used Ash Neville. And I can't really see them. Well, Ash Neville has said on her socials, yeah, we'll go again next season and we'll see you there. But I'm sure if a WSL team came in for them and others of the team, that it would be very hard to keep them. So I think they're going to have a really, really difficult time of it next year. Because as we've seen with Palace this year, it wasn't an automatic that they were going to come straight back up.
No.
If you looked at them at Christmas, you'd have gone, well, they're not coming up.
Yeah.
So I think Leicester are going to have a difficult time, especially as their men's team have also been relegated and have been relegated twice in quick succession, from what I believe.
Yeah.
So if you're Leicester City as a club, where's your priority going to be? I would hazard a guess to say it's probably not the women's team. Are they going to carry on playing at the King Power? You know, it was not a great atmosphere when we were there for a WSL game. I don't know what it's going to be like WSL 2. So is that going to change? There's a lot of unknowns for them. And yeah, I feel massively sorry. I feel sorry for the players. I don't think they've been and it's not Rick Passmore's fault. You know, I think he's done as well as he can as a manager, but obviously somewhere there's been a disconnect, and I feel incredibly sorry for the players, for the staff, for the fans. It's going to be a difficult few years for Leicester City as a club, let alone the two individual teams.
Yeah, I think it'll be difficult for them to come back up. I think because, like you were saying, they have got a few players who I think will be. I think they'll get. I wouldn't say asset stripped, but I think there's a few players certainly who their better players will get snapped up. I mean, one of the players that I thought played pretty well for them was Olivia McLaughlin, who is like she's in the England under-23s. She was, I think, the only one who scored a penalty, and did it with quite aplomb. So I'm sure she'll go somewhere else.
I'm not sure I can cope with McLaughlin and McLaughlin in the same team.
Well, we'll see if that happens. We don't know yet. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously like Shannon O'Brien. I mean, I think she scored like 6 or 7 of those 11 goals or something. So she didn't have a great game, but she didn't have any support. Like, it was a really sort of turgid game. It was just. It was all played in the midfield pretty much, bar like 1 or 2 long shots and stuff.
I think I watched something like 20 minets of it at Gretna Services, and I was happy to get back on the motorway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think actually, I mean, I said at the time is that there was kind of a sort of bit of justice in the fact that Charlton won, because they did have a good goal chalked off for offside.
They did,
it was one of those tight ones, but it was just onside. You know, when I forget who it was, somebody hit the bar and then somebody ran in and tapped in the rebound, and I can't remember either which of the players they were, but she was flagged offside and she wasn't. So that there was that. But yeah, I think you do look through the squad and there are some bright spots in there, and you kind of wonder whether anyone's got relegation clauses in the contracts.
Possible, yeah, it's possible.
Because if you are Olivia McLaughlin, say, and you're looking at the WSL now, wanting to get back up there, you don't want to be sort of stuck in somewhere that's going to be demanding hundreds of thousands for you because you're not that headline player. But I think I think the transfer window sort of sums up their season in a way, in that they got Ash Neville, they brought in Alicia Lehman, who. I mean, I feel bad sort of talking about Alicia Lehman because I'm sure she's a lovely girl and stuff like that. But I think we know why she's got more TikTok followers than any other footballer. And you know, Emma Janssen, who's a good player, but sort of on the tail end of her career. And speaking of tail end of her career, the Hail Mary that is Rachel Williams. And I think there's not. I mean, I don't know who else they could have got, but there's not an enormous amount of sort of dynamism. And look who we've signed. It's kind of, you know. Again, no, I mean, no offense to any of them. They're all great players in their day and stuff, but that did hint as a very desperate transfer window, really just getting what they could get in. And yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of players there who will have WSL eyes all over them now. I mean, I'm wondering what Nelly Lass is going to be doing.
Well, she was only on loan, wasn't she? So
no, she was out on loan. She was at Ipswich, I think.
Oh, that's right. Beg your pardon. Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. She'd be a good signing, a good prospect for the future. I do think they will lose a lot of their players, but I think they probably will be able to keep someone like Rachel Williams. And I think in the WSL too, it wouldn't shock me if Rachel Williams could still score 10 or 12 goals. Yeah. But I think if they'd have stayed up, that wouldn't have been enough. I think next season they would have been in the same position. Claire, there's been a bit of rumbling. I don't know how much there is to it really, but that Leicester being relegated could actually kind of put them in a similar situation to Reading, where if they're not earning enough money to be, or they're not in the WSL and therefore not earning enough money to have the big stadium and so on and so forth, that they could go down the same route and kind of make themselves semi-professional and drop down to the Women's National League. Do you think, what do you think it sort of still says about the women's football pyramid, that like if a team does get relegated from the WSL, there's automatically kind of like talk about, you know, the fact that they might become semi-professional or step down a tier or whatever?
I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's got anything to do with the WSL. I think it's to do with the fact that their men's team's so shit. They've been relegated to the 3rd tier and they will not have any money for the women's team. End of. That's just the reality of it. They have a fantastic stadium that will cost a fortune to run every time they play a game there. We know that from the Amex, that it costs a certain amount of money to play a game there. I just don't see how if they don't hit the ground running and come straight back up again, I think they're gone. I think they could just tumble straight out of the WSL2 and that's it. There's nothing left then. What are Leicester as a team, as a club, going to invest in? What are they going to? Where are they going to get players from? They got no money, so they're going to have to asset strip the men's team already just to keep the men's team going.
Yeah,
you know, and I think as a club, Leicester are in big trouble if they don't get somebody come in with a huge amount of money and, you know, just pump it in there with no care about whether they get it back. I don't see them continuing as a club, full stop, men or women.
I think I mean Reading is a great example. I think that I think, you know, you almost think that the treatment that Reading gave their women's team was almost proportionate to what they did to the men's team. It wasn't like that. They almost felt like they didn't completely treat them unfairly, because the men's team was just completely blitzed as well. And obviously the equivalent of doing the same thing almost to the women's team meant that they just dropped out of the league. So yeah, I mean, you could imagine that, like as Claire said, if a new owner or someone doesn't come in, and they've got to care about it, haven't they?
Yeah,
I think that's the.
Because even when you look at their men's team or the women's team, really asset-wise, who do they have that they can sell and make any money off of? Because, like you say, everybody else is going to look at the club and go, well, you just got relegated. Should we take that player off your hands? How long has she got left on the contract? She's WSL2 player now, so 50 grand. We're not paying the 250 grand you would have got if she was a WSL player. So every other club will go in and go, we don't care. We're going to get what we can out of this, and we're going to make the best out of your players. And if they lose 5-6 of their first team players, where are they getting the replacements? They're going to have to go to the lower leagues. You're going to have to hope that they find a gem somewhere out of, you know, Wycombe Wanderers or something. I mean, like, it's a sad place for women's football. Everyone thinks women's football is great. It's on the up, and it is. But only if you're in that top 6 teams of the WSL. Everyone else is scrabbling around for pennies to buy players with and to pay wages with. The men's clubs that we're all attached to generally are not putting the equivalent amount of money into the women as they do the men's. And until that changes for a lot of these clubs, it's going to struggle.
West Ham as well are a bit of a worry on the same on the same level, because obviously the West Ham boys just got relegated. It's obviously the worry is it's also going to cost Londoners a lot more money because of the stupid deal that Boris Johnson, may he rest in pieces, signed with them. I think they already pay a lot of the expenses for running that stadium anyway. And it's going to be even more now that they're playing in the Championship with less gate money and more games. But again, I mean, West Ham, they don't really invest in their women's team anyway.
No, and they've got one season, haven't they, with the parachute payment of dropping out of the Premier League. But the Premier League is so much money for these clubs that if you don't bounce back straight away, you're in financial trouble, because you are paying Premier League wages to everybody at that club, not just the players, every coach, every physio, every woman that works in the canteen, your cleaners, they're all on Premier League team wages. And you got to adjust all of that if you don't come up, and that's massively. People go, no thanks, not playing here.
And West Ham have just lost Martinez, haven't they?
Yes,
their best player, really. She's gone.
I think that's one of the real positives about the Albion, to be honest with you, is I think we all know that we could spend a bit more money and we could be a bit more proactive in the transfer market. But I don't genuinely feel, if heaven forfend that we got relegated to WSL2, that wouldn't be it. That would not be it. That it would be very much like, how do we get back into the WSL? It wouldn't be like starting to ask about whether we can do this or whether we can do that, or it would be very much like, right, we need to get back where we need to be. Okay, it's only 1 up, 1 down. Technically, could be 2 up, 2 down, depending. They would want to get back in the WSL, and I don't think money would be an issue, because we very much try and work on the basis of we're never too much in the red, so that we can occasionally go into the black sort of thing. So from that point of view, I think that's where Brighton are a lot more well equipped to deal with something like that than a Leicester, who the men's team is on a downslide, women's team's on a downslide. They're not particularly seen as, like, I know Brighton aren't an Arsenal or a Liverpool, but they're not a Leicester either, if that makes sense. And actually, I saw you had to take it a little bit with a pinch of salt, because Soccer Donna, some of their valuations and stuff are a bit here or there. But when you looked at the league table of like how expensive the squad was, I think Brighton were third bottom, 1.8 million, and it was only, I think, West Ham
and the 3 new ones.
Yeah, I think were below us. Even Liverpool was like 3 million. They didn't finish above us. So actually, to sort of, we should have come 6th, shouldn't we? Really, if we'd have come 5th last year, 6th this year, I mean, we finished 7th, but it's kind of by the by. But that's actually quite good, seeing as we have one of the lowest expenditure of squad in the league. And also the fact that if you look at a lot of the other clubs, when they finish 5th, they then plummeted the year after to like 10th, 9th. We weren't that far off from sticking where we were. A win here, a win there. Had we had a striker, had we not kind of...
I think that's the thing, isn't it? If we'd have had that striker who would have got us 5 or 6 goals, 10 goals,
we certainly would have had one or
probably
two
had
more
another
points,
10 points.
Yeah, exactly. And even if we'd only had 2, we still would have finished 6th. So it's...
But also, we were there or thereabouts in a lot of games. If we'd have got that penalty at Spurs, we'll be saying that for a long time. But equally, the Arsenal game, if that ball had bounced off Marissa's foot slightly differently, and
DVD made the save officially the save of the season to keep Ramsdale's header.
So we weren't that far off. It's not like we've really been handed ourselves to ourselves. We have been in and amongst it, and I think it's a good solid basis for moving forward. I don't think there's any, and I wouldn't say it now anyway, just before the FA Cup final, but I, hand on heart, I don't think there's anyone in our squad that I would point to and go, that person is a weak link. I think the gaping hole at striker is a bit of a weak link, but that's a squad issue.
That's the lack of a player, not
it's a lack of a player,
exactly,
not somebody who I'd like to look at and go, oh, actually, we'll upgrade on you next season. You know, if we had this squad with a couple of extras to bring us up to full strength, I think we'd all be very, very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we've been saying, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's only really, we don't need a sea change. We need some minor incremental
marginal gains.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're already doing quite well. We just want to do that a little bit better. You know, where we've been in so many games where we lost or drew because of one goal. Every single game except the Chelsea game, we either lost or drew. So it's like, you know, we're not far off, and you can upset the apple cart. You know, if you go, okay, well, we need, you know, 7 players are going and we need 8 new ones, and then you find you haven't got that basis that you had the 2 years prior that got you to 5th, 6th, that area, you know. So hopefully we'll see, you know, touch wood, a few contract renewals incoming, because we've obviously got a few players out of contract in theory. I think they will know whether they're staying or going. We don't, but I think that's fair enough. That's the decision the club has made, as to not disrupt things before the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I think 1st of June. 1st of June will, or maybe even a couple. If depending on how the cup final goes, I think it'll be either 1st of June or at some point in that week.
Yeah, and I think the window opens on the 16th, so. That'll be, if there's transfer fees to be paid and stuff like that, then we'll see some more movement then. But yeah, I'm sort of hopeful that we'll do some business quite early. I think I mean, it depends obviously what happens in the FA Cup final. I think if we win, it's not quite so urgent, because I think there'll still be a buzz around the club from that. But I think if worse comes to worse and we don't win the FA Cup final, I think we're going to need something to bounce back. To give us a bit of, right, well, next season we go again, we go for another trophy, here's 2 or 3 players that are going to get us there. And then, because it would be hard to lose that cup final and then go 3 months, 4 months before the next season and kind of be like, are we getting anyone, aren't we getting anyone, is so and so staying, is you know. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, they've apparently been working on these transfers for ages and ages and ages, because they know we need a striker.
3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you'd hope that, assuming we are getting one, you know, I'd like to think they will be done quite quickly, but obviously we shall see. Right. Shall we have Chankity Chank?
Yes.
Yes, here we go. Ready?
Come on, give it some chankity.
Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank, Chankity Chank. Chankity Chank. And please welcome your host, Duncan Bryce. Thank you. Thank you.
Good, great.
Everyone.
A whole 20 minutes.
There's surprisingly few photos where I'm making an acceptable face to put on a suited body. So yes, I think that will become the new intro of Chankity Chank. But this is an FA Cup special. So I think it's important to note that, because this is effectively like the road to Wembley, because it's all to do with getting to the stadium and stepping out on the turf. So I haven't gone too much into what happens whether we win or lose, because that's all to be decided. But everything leading up to the game is fair game. So there we go. So has everyone got thinking caps on, pen ready if you need it, or, you know, either way, if you want to freewheel it and go from your brain, you can. Okay, so we've got 6 questions and then the super match game. So I'll have to let me just start with a little.
Have we got a jingle for super match game? Super match game.
Oh no.
Super match game.
Don't give him ideas, Claire.
Oh come on!
Maybe
I think
we could
we'll
just
have to get together and sing.
We'll all sing it together. Yeah. Okay.
We can do that half time in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Or just sing super match game.
We'll do the whole thing. Chankity
Yeah,
chank.
confuse them.
Chank.
Now, we did. I'm just recalling that we had some technical things last time. How did we work out it was best to do it? For everyone to say, and then I'll say the answers.
I don't know, but don't they write it down on the
Yeah.
Yeah,
show?
I think so. Can you all write it down? I'm gonna have to read
I
it
am
anyway for
poised
audio
with
purposes.
notepad.
I have my Kissimmee notepad and pen.
Oh, there we go.
Very
All
good.
ready to go.
Ben's looking for
Well,
a
that
pen.
could be the SheGulls version of the blankety blank checkbook and pen.
Could be.
Is the Kissing Me notebook and pen.
Yeah.
Kissing me, yeah. There
Yeah.
we go.
Right.
I like it. Right, okay.
Number one.
Question number 1. After boarding the coach to Wembley on the morning of the game, Charlie Rule looks surprised. "What's up, Charlie?" Bex Rayner asked her. "Ah, nothing," Charlie replies. "I just thought Tony Bloom would splash out and let us use his private chank." So you can write your answers down now. I'll read it one more time just to think while you think about it. After boarding the coach to Wembley on the morning of the game, Charlie Rule looks surprised. "What's up, Charlie?" Bex Rayner asks her. "Ah, nothing," Charlie replies. "I just thought Tony Bloom would splash out and let us use his private chank." Let's start. I'll start with different people, different times. So I'm going to start with Ben on this occasion. His private
I hold up my thing to the
helicopter. Okay. Okay. Like it. Okay. And I'll go clockwise. So that'll be Abby next. His private.
I said limo.
Limo. Okay. And that just leaves Claire. His
Yep.
private.
I went jet.
Jet. Okay. I should have got the sound effects thing, shouldn't I? That would have been good if I'd have thought about it in advance. Anywho, right. Okay. So the answers were airplane or jet.
Oh,
Hooray!
you can't land an aeroplane at Wembley, though.
Yes, you can. It's going to make a mess, but you can do it.
They've got a car park.
Yeah.
You could have had helicopter.
Yay.
Hey, Ben gets a point.
I get a point.
And the other one you could have had, it makes no sense, but I just thought it was funny, hovercraft.
But Charlie in the messages said hoverboard. He was nearly there.
Hoverboard. That was close. Yeah, that was close. I would have given you half a point for that, Charlie.
Yeah.
Because it's something
Well, he's still doing better than I am.
There you go. So we've got 2 correct answers from the first one.
Yeah.
And Abby's still to score. Okay, so see how you get this one. As the coach makes the journey along the motorway, Nadine Nordam notices something out of the window. "What is that man doing?" she asks Marissa Ollislagers. "I'm not sure, but I think it's illegal to drive without chank, isn't it?" Yeah. As the coach makes the journey along the motorway, Nadine Nordam notices something out of the window. "What is that man doing?" she asks Marissa Ollislagers. "I'm not sure, but I think it's illegal to drive without chank, isn't it?" Have we all got... Abby's writing intently.
Oh, I can't think of anything. Legal to drive without.
You have to think
Can't
what
even spell.
might be disturbing for someone.
That is not the spelling of that.
Oh, there's a bloody moth.
Not moth. Where? I'll have a
Get out
panic.
of it.
I'll have a panic. Kill it.
It's gone over the other side of the room now. I'm going to be looking for,
Bloody hate those
that
things.
thing later. I don't know how I got in. I've got a bloody...
They get in everywhere. They're like the devil's
Blooming things.
It's horrible. Horrible
I
things.
think you just threw it out of your window because it just crashed into mine.
Did it? There you go. Right. Okay. Have we all got an answer for that one? I'm just getting up to shut the window. I've just remembered I left the window open. That's why the moth had got in. I think the moth might be a Man City supporter as well.
If it dive bombs you, it is.
It's gone over by my Funkos. I think it's going to eat one of the boxes and devalue it. There we go. Right. Okay. As the coach makes the journey along the motorway, Nadine Nordam notices something out of the window. "What is that man doing?" she asks Marissa Ollislagers. "I'm not sure, but I think it's illegal to drive without chank, isn't it?" So the answers are... Oh, no, hang on. I've got to get your answers, of course. Abby, What did you go for?
I said a seagull on the roof.
Okay, I like it. Just bear with me while I put a cross there.
Outrageous!
Claire, what did you go for?
I've gone with a Brighton scarf.
Okay. Arm's getting tired from doing crosses. Ben, what did you go for?
Well, don't put your pen down. I've lowered the tone nicely.
Ooh. Do you know what? I'm going to give you a half a point.
Ooh.
So if it comes to a tiebreaker, you might just edge it.
Round houses.
Yes, it's illegal to drive without a windscreen. You could have had along a similar lines a wheel. Yeah, and this is where Ben gets his half point. Clothes on. It's illegal to drive without clothes on.
I mean, my scarf is an item of clothing. I'm just saying. It's
should clarify
worn
for
around
people.
the neck.
I'll give you a quarter point.
Thank you.
Clarify for people listening in black and white. I said trousers. I just realised I waved my piece of paper at the camera. And
Yes, trousers. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Podcast magic.
Perhaps what we'll have to do is when you
Does
present
Charlie
it-
get a quarter point as well?
Charlie gets a
He
point.
said,
You said Brighton shirt.
said
so
a
that's
Brighton
the
shirt.
Oh,
Half a
yeah,
point,
quarter
half a
point
point
for
for
Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
He's going to win this.
With
Isn't
that. Okay. Next question. The food on board the coach is a mixture of different cuisines from around the world. Kiko Seiki leans over and says to Moeka Minami and Fuka Sonoda in Japanese, I can't speak Japanese, so I'll be translating. These dim sum dumplings aren't as nice as back home. That's not a dumpling, Fuka says. It's an old wet chank I found under the table. So it would be Claire to answer first on this one, so just be prepared.
Have we all got our answers?
I'll read it one more time. The food on board the coach is a mixture of different cuisines from around the world. Kiko Seiki leans over and says to Moeka Minami and Fuka Sonoda in Japanese, these dim sum dumplings aren't as nice as back home. That's not a dumpling, Fuka says. It's an old wet chank I found under the table. Claire.
Sock.
Sock. Okay. Ben.
Sock.
Sock.
Come on, is it Full
Oh,
House? It's got to be a Full
sock.
House. Come on, Abby.
Abby, what did you go for?
Yes! Full House of socks.
I don't know why I didn't think of socks.
Oh.
I've got, this was the one I was most pleased with. An old wet tea bag,
Yeah.
an old wet piece of chewing gum, and an old wet tissue.
I mean, I think our answer was better.
I
but,
think your
yeah.
answer was better, yeah. But the thing is, if I gave you a point, I'd have to give you all a point, so it kind of doesn't make any
Negates
difference either
the
way.
point of it.
Yes.
Yes, but
If
I
you-
might have had a point.
But yes, Abby would have a point. So
Yeah, well, never mind.
I've got to stick up for my mate.
Okay, here we go with the next one. As they enter the stadium, Manuela Venegas kneels down by the entrance. Ah, says Sophie Bagley, a prayer for us to win the game. No, says Manu, I just dropped my chank down a drainage grate.
Can I get that again?
Yeah. As they enter the stadium, Manuela Venegas kneels down by the entrance. Ah, says Sophie Bagley, a prayer for us to win the game. No, says Manu, I just dropped my chank down a drainage grate. Have we all got an answer? Okay, right. It's Ben to start again with this one. So, what did Manu drop down the drainage gate?
Clean it up again. Shin pads.
Shin pads. Okay,
It's quite easy because Manu does wear quite small shin pads, so that's very doable.
that's true. Yeah.
Not
Okay.
quite Jack Hinchelwood, but
Abby, what did you go for?
I went shin pads
Shin
as
yeah, I
well.
think she has as well.
Why aren't I thinking of these things?
So I'm not going to get points this round, am I?
Claire, what did you go for?
Full House, shin pads.
Oh, bloody hell! I'm going to
Clearly,
get
we're on the same page.
I'm going to get someone else to do these bloody things in the future.
It's
Oh,
Manu's
well.
tiny shin pads.
Right. Well, I went for car keys.
Right,
No,
Charlie's got
Charlie
keys.
got a point.
There you go. Also, Charlie's noticed that a lot of the time the answer is seagull. But it hasn't been so far. Contact lenses or a lucky item. So I would have accepted like lucky rabbit's foot or lucky coin or something like that.
Hold on a minute.
They're lucky shin pads. She's always
Yeah,
said.
hang on, lucky shin pads.
All right,
There
you
you
can
go.
have a
Lucky
point.
shin pad.
She always talks about them.
Stop being on each other's wavelengths and get on my wavelength. All right. Okay, here we go.
I'd like to point out that Charlie's actually winning at the moment.
Yeah, well done, Charlie. We'll invite him on to do this match. Okay, 2 more to go. Yelena sits down in the dressing room and plugs her phone into a charger. You okay over there, Yele? Chimaka Nadozi inquires. Yes, all good, she responds. I just find I play better after a few rounds of CANK before we start. So there's something quite important in the first sentence will help you with the answers I've gone for. Yelena sits down in the dressing room and plugs her phone into a charger. You okay over there, Yele? Chimaka Nadozi inquires. Yes, all good, she responds. I just find I play better after a few rounds of CANK before we start. And I'm going to Abby with this one.
I'm going to go for Candy Crush.
Abby's got her first point.
Yay!
I know I'm not normally supposed to say whether someone's got one right, but I didn't want to leave you in suspense too long. Claire, what did you go for?
I've gone for FIFA Pro.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's a game, but I just guessed at it.
It's quite a bad guess.
Charlie has guessed at the same thing, so I'm digging I'm on the right place.
Yeah, not bad. Ben, what did you go for?
Well, I think she's plugged in her phone so she can log into this call because she wants to play a few rounds of CANKITY.
CANK. Oh, if only.
Oh, I've got the accents over the seas.
We
I
got
know,
to
that
get
was
on
really
for a
good,
game of
yeah.
Cankity Chank.
That was really good.
She'll look at us like we're absolute nutters.
Insane, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, so Candy Crush was one of the answers. You also could have had Wordle.
Oh,
And ever popular, but about 15 years old, Doodle Jump.
Who?
Doodle Jump. Don't you remember Doodle Jump?
I
No.
love Doodle Jump.
The
Awesome.
little green alien
Yeah.
thing that jumped on logs and went up. No? Okay.
No, clearly I was adulting at the time.
Didn't make it over to the island. Okay, so there we go. Right, now let's have a look at the scores going into the final round. So Abby's got 1, Ben's got 1.5, and Claire has 1.25.
Oh, it's
So
all
it's
on
all
this
to play
one.
for. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all to play for. We like it. As Fran Kirby holds out her hand for her mascot, she turns towards them. There's something familiar about you, she says. Don't mind me, comes a high-pitched voice from under a false moustache. My name's CANK, and I wanted to walk out at Wembley at least once this year. All right. I'll do it one more time. As Fran Kirby holds her hand out for her mascot, she turns towards them. Something familiar about you, she says. Don't mind me, comes the high-pitched voice from under the false moustache. My name's CANK, and I wanted to walk out of Wembley at least once this year. I can't remember who's starting on this one. I think it might be Claire. I'm going to say it's Claire. Who is it that was walking out with Fran, Claire?
Ruby.
Oh, okay.
yay.
Okay. Ben?
Bethmead.
Oh! Oh!
I was
Okay.
thinking to go for a footballer, but I thought no, Ruby would be funnier.
Abby, who did you go for?
Beth England
Oh!
joining her
wrong.
future team.
We're all wrong.
You're all wrong, but you might think I've been quite savage here. You could have had Mary Earps, Katie McCabe, or Katie Robinson.
Ooh.
Ooh, harsh.
2 Katies and a Mary. There we go. So that was there were zeros all around there. So I think, Ben, I think you've won.
I've
somehow.
won.
Is
You've
this
won by
is this
that
your
quarter
first
of a
super
point.
match game?
I think it's the first time I've ever scored in this game, actually.
Yeah. There we go.
You can do your
Trousers.
super match game now.
Trousers won it. for me.
Trousers was what did it for you. That's
Yeah.
what,
I think.
Once
I
again.
mean, I'm going to have that on my gravestone.
yeah. Chankity
Trousers
Chank
did
winner.
it for me.
Yeah.
Chankity
I
Chank
think
winner,
so.
cup final.
But
I think so.
2026.
That I'd live by.
But the main thing is with the super match game is you must win the super match game or everything else is off. So here's the important. Here it comes down to with the super match game. Are we going to do a little round of super match game?
Yeah, have me and Abby got to do the one
Jingle.
that he matches with?
Oh, I don't know. No.
Because he says what it is out loud, isn't it? And we've got to write down what we think it is.
Oh,
and if
okay.
he matches with one of us, he wins.
All right. Yeah, we
Innit?
can, we
That's
can
how
do
the
that.
super match works.
Yeah. We can do
We'll
that.
be the
Oh,
celebrities.
Just put my pen away.
Yeah, we'll be the celebrities that he's going to pick to do. Has anyone watched this game?
I haven't seen it since Terry Wogan stopped
Just
doing
me.
Well,
I
understand
don't
the
think I've
basic
seen it
premise.
since, was it Les Dawson?
it.
did
Yeah,
it?
I might have seen
Dawson.
it.
Good grief.
Okay, here we go. So this is for Ben's super match game. Here we go. Maisie Simons looks round as the game kicks off. Ah, there's nothing like the roar of an Albion crowd, she says to Caitlin Hayes. Second only to one thing, Caitlin replies, the screech of a chank.
Are they writing? Are they writing? Are they
No,
writing?
I've not written anything yet. The screech.
I'm thinking of all the
a-
dead air on this podcast.
Screech of a screechy thing.
Well, I'm waiting for them to be ready because then
I've written.
I've got no clue
Right.
really if this is
What
any good.
happens if Claire doesn't get it?
No,
I think
he's only got a match with one of us.
Oh, okay. I think
Yeah.
we'll be all right then.
I think.
Maybe-
Yes.
I think it would be
Maisie Simons looks round as the game kicks off. Ah, there's nothing like the roar of an Albion crowd, she says to Caitlin Hayes. Second only to one thing, Caitlin replies, the screech of a Ben.
seagulls.
Seagulls. Did I get seagulls?
Yay!
Yeah, Ben wins. Absolutely nothing but the respect of his peers. Well, not even really that, but
No.
and you win absolutely nothing.
Lost.
absolutely
Okay.
nothing. But yes, we'll. You've got a good catchphrase out of it, which is about the trousers. So it was the trousers what did it?
Trousers, what did it?
You know. So
You'll have to add that to Ben's little video.
Yeah.
In a
that's true.
corner.
Could do.
We'll need a little
do.
addendum. Perhaps Ben, you know, we've got Abby's video. She's posed doing a puzzled
Yeah.
face. Maybe if
No.
you could just hold up a pair of trousers.
Maybe,
take a
we could. Yeah, maybe we could do that at Wembley.
Yes, yeah. Well, if we win, I mean, all bets are off. Your clothes are staying on, you're coming off, aren't they? Really? So, you know,
Right.
get the thermals on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
There we go.
there's a couple of other little things. I mean,
Yes, by all means.
I'm looking at a marvelous picture of Nadine Nordam, and she got a bit of stick for this dress, and I think it's absolutely fabulous. Sort of gold, sort of overlaid flowery things. I don't know the terminology, but she looks beautiful because obviously at the Player Awards, her goal against Liverpool was the goal of the season. That was the goal of the decade, the goal of the millennium. I think in isolation it was an amazing goal anyway, but obviously the what it stood for was extra. The club normally they've had the sort of awards evening would have been a sort of sit down dinner in probably something like the Mayo in Baxter Lounge at the Amex, and then there'd be a sort of a presentation thing at the end where they give out the awards and whatnot. But because it's the 125th anniversary, they did a special thing actually in the Amex itself, where there was a stage on the edge of the pitch, and sort of the players and everybody was sitting in the prawn sandwich seats, and they also sold tickets to I don't know how many fans were there, but some of the women's fans were there too. So it looked like a very nice evening. And obviously everybody in their posh frocks and suits and stuff. So it looked like a very nice time. Nadine got the goal of the season. and Kiko was the player's player, which is rather nice. And Fran was voted by the fans as the player of the season again, second year in a row. And Charlie Rule was the young player, which is nice. I think there was sort of a questioning about whether or not she was young enough because she's 23, but she's 2 weeks older than the skipper, so that's young enough for me. Was it 2 weeks young? No, 2 weeks younger than the skipper, isn't she? But anyway, no,
we don't have a fantastic amount of young players that have played that much this season, do they?
We haven't got many that have played sort of enough minutes to qualify for the thing.
She certainly deserved it out of the ones that were young enough to be eligible.
Yeah. I suppose the other thing that came out of the night was a special edition shirt, which I think it confused people a bit because I think they thought it might be the sort of the new shirt for next season, which I don't hate it, but I hope it's not. Because it basically, back in 1901 when Brighton and Hove United and Brighton Rangers or something basically became Brighton Hove Albion in 1901, and they wore a sort of lightish blue, a sort of mid blue shirt, and so this new one's come out with all the logos and the sponsors and everything are in shade, in shadow rather than sort of standing out in white or whatever. I think it looks quite classy, but it is a bit of a polo shirt, whereas when you see the picture of the original team in 1901, they kind of got sort of lace-up collar and that kind of thing, so I wonder why they haven't done that. But I suppose the polo shirt's more wearable, isn't it? They've made 1,901 of them, and they go for 150 quid if anyone fancies them. But you do get a presentation box and a scarf and a keyring and a badge and some other stuff, and etc.
Is it signed by God?
It's not signed by God, no.
I mean, it's crazy.
Lewis Dunk.
He was wearing one, so it might be. I mean, there's a lovely the presentation thing itself has got some current players. Obviously, it's got the two skippers, Donkey and Maisie, and sort of some great players from over the years, like did I imagine Bobby Zamora and stuff like that? And it was very nice that Victoria Williams is on there as well. So, the former skipper. And actually, the awards night, I mean, obviously it was current players and things as well, but there were a lot of, Victoria Williams was there as well, and Fern Whelan was there, and Hope Powell as well. So, obviously leaning on the history quite heavily, which was nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, obviously, the Albion's got a podcast, which obviously, it's. I'm not going to say inferior to this, but they do their best. And obviously,
it's another podcast.
The secondary awards evening, the second of ours, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's. We might come up with different people and different awards and stuff, but it's difficult to argue really with them deserving it. Particularly, I mean, Nadine's goal, because, like I said, that as you were saying earlier on, that will, and I think I alluded to the other week, that's gone down with Stuart Storer at the winner at the last game of the Goldstone, and Robbie Ryan out at Hereford. It's just one of those sort of, obviously not as existential, but as historic.
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of look at it that way at the moment because it literally just happened. But I think if you look at it in context of the club, there's not that many more important goals than that,
No.
So yeah, something to remember. Say we were there.
Yeah.
So yeah, glad we went along to that one. Yeah, there we go. Anything else to add as we just hit the 2 hour mark?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I think you're going to play this stupid video, aren't you? But there is a bit of a loan report.
As you've suggested, just because you asked for it, Ben,
you asked for it. Look what you made me.
Ben on the ball, Ben on the mic, talking women's football every day, every night, from the first big tackle to the last late goal. Ben's got the game, Ben's got the soul.
To be fair, I get complaints from Charlie if I don't play it, so we don't want complaints.
Yeah.
You got to play it.
No, you even interrupted. That's the language of a bully. Look what you made me do. But I mean, it's only quick, obviously, because WSL2's finished. Blah 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 blah. Jess Pegram still up at Rangers. Sat on the bench the entire way through them losing 6-0 away at Glasgow City, which was incredible. I mean, it was a sort of a, top of the, basically title decider, because Hearts were away at Hibs, and if Hearts lost to Hibs, then all Rangers needed to do was if Hearts lost to Hibs, then if Rangers won, then they would have got the title. And I think that probably was playing on a few minds. But Hearts did lose to Hibs. And so had Rangers won
pretty soundly,
but
didn't they?
yeah, I mean 6-0 was extraordinary, because I think they were saying that there's never really been more than the odd goal between them in these games. So it was like, oh, they've got to score 3 now. Oh dear, they've never scored 3 in these games. Oh, now they need 4.
Now they've got to score 7.
It was crazy. And so Jess Pegram was on the bench and stayed there the whole game. And I think, considering that at least 3 of Glasgow City's goals came from corners, you think, well, why are you leaving your beanpole defender on the bench? I think maybe she had a bit of a knock a few weeks ago, so that might be the reason. But you think, well, if you're going to concede goals to a place where it's like us leaving Caitlin out and then conceding goals to corners, that kind of thing. So so unfortunately for Jess, Rangers did not win the title. Hearts did, but she has got the Scottish Cup final to look forward to next weekend, which should be played simultaneous, I think, pretty much with the English FA Cup final. Over the sea to Sweden, Olivia Garcia played for AIK. They drew 2-2 with Malmo. Both goals from Nova Silim. But I think OJ had one of those games. OG, excuse me. Sorry. Get my Olivia's confused. OG had one of those games, I think, where did everything but score, I think. And considering Malmo's goalkeeper was, never knew how to pronounce this, Zecira Musovic.
Yeah.
Who, obviously formerly of Chelsea fame. She made a couple of quite extraordinary saves to keep OG out. But yeah, I think, obviously AIK, they're kind of the 3rd Stockholm club, aren't they? Even though they're probably the oldest. But they're ticking along quite nicely. And speaking of ticking along quite nicely and Stockholm clubs, our very own Melina Lurk played for Hammarby. They won 1-0 away at Kristianstads, which obviously would have been a big one for her, because that was where she spent 3 seasons, I think, before she came to us.
Yeah.
So always a big deal facing her old clubs. I think she was extra keen and made some good saves and stuff. Kept them. I think it was quite a late winner, so she kept them in it for quite a long time before they managed to score. So again, basically another month of their loans. I'm pretty sure OG's coming back. Sort of end of June it runs out, but again, I mean, I don't like to think about it, because I think she's a marvelous player and she's a lovely person. But Melina does look so nice, so comfortable there, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's easily one of the best. Well, probably borderline the best keeper in the league, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I think it feels like there's a deal to be done there. But if there isn't, then there's probably going to be a deal to be done somewhere else, or there's going to be, or we're going to have a very good backup.
Yeah.
So one way or another, Brighton should, in theory, come out ahead of the deal. Obviously, we want Melina to be somewhere where she's going to enjoy her football. So if that means playing every game for Hammarby and Brighton get compensated for that, then you can't say fairer than that, really, can you? So there we go. For another week, we are done. This time next week, of course, we'll know whether we've won the FA Cup or not.
Still feels crazy to say that.
It does feel crazy, yeah. And actually, when you think about how we do it weekly and then it seems to roll around quite quickly, the fact that we won't now do another podcast before we find out if we've won makes it seem all that much sooner. So
yeah.
So there we go. Yeah, that's going to round off this week's show. We still made it to 2 hours. I told you we would. Remember, you can find us at SheGulls on X or Twitter, and of course Instagram, which is run by a friend of the podcast, Steve Gibbs. You can find us at SheGulls.com, where there are links to all our other areas of interest. As I say, we will hopefully have the transcriptions of the interviews that I did with the players last week. So that will hopefully give you a nice countdown into the FA Cup final. Keep an eye out for us. If you have TNT, we may well be featured on TNT. We'll be featured more if we win.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully be featured a little bit, even if we don't. But yeah,
Imagine that.
exactly. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So yeah, if you've got TNT Sports and you don't mind watching the odd break, hopefully keep an eye out for us. You may see us on the coverage there.
Make sure my hair's done.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's why I wear the cap, you see, so I don't have to. Also makes you eminently recognisable, because people say, "Oh, yeah, I'll find you," and I go, "Oh, how will you know?" Oh, it's the cap, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're also on Facebook, so you can head over there, search for SheGulls Podcast, and we should pop right up. Also, give Brighton women fans a follow for more general Albion chat. Also, big shout out to our Patreon members, Ben, Jess, and now Angie. Thank you very much, Angie. Yeah, 3 Patreon members. It's coming along nicely. We've gone up 50% month on month, so that's good. So yeah, thank you very much for your contributions, as always. And as always, I will say, it's without you, there is no podcast, and to a certain extent, there is no SheGulls. So thank you so much. All that remains for me is to say a massive thank you to you, Ben.
Well, thank you all.
An enormous thank you to you, Claire.
Thank you.
A gigantic thank you to you, Abby.
Thank you.
And I should say this has been the SheGulls podcast, powered by Albion Obsessed.
Night River.
Night River.
Night.